Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Oh boy, we got a good show for you tonight. We're back on the story of the alien interview, and we're going to be talking about this book right here, Alien Interview by Lawrence R. Spencer, and he wrote this, and it's a biography or words from Matilda O'Donnell McElroy. Now, if you haven't seen this, we've been doing several shows on it. Me and Delabore, we researched this. Well, we read the book, of course, and talked about it on Saturday's show. And I said, well, since maybe some people haven't read it, I'm going to read it on air. And so that's what I've been doing. Now, if you believe in aliens or not, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's the fact that you're going to follow along and make up your own mind, because we create our own reality. And if you're thinking, one way or the other, it really doesn't matter, because you make up your reality. You are the creator of your own surroundings. If you want to have aliens in your surroundings, well, then you're going to have aliens in your surroundings. It's as simple as that. Sorry about that. There was some dust in the air. I was stirring it up earlier. So anyway, Travis the Brick's in the house. We're live tonight, Wednesday night live. So we're getting on with this. Now, if you don't have the PDF for this, I do have it, and you could follow along, or you read it yourself. You can go more detailed, because I'm going to skip over a bunch of stuff here and there, the detailed stuff. I'm not going really into depth. I'm going to read the main stuff. If you want to join me, I'm going to leave a link in the comment section here. And you can come on and join me if you want, and we can talk about it. You can help me read along. I'll send you the PDF real quick. But we're going to have this reading. But if you have any comments or questions, that's what this is all about. It's not a study of saying, yes, aliens are true, aliens are fake. It's up to the observer. You make up your own mind. That's what I say. Aliens could be living under the water, and we just don't know it. There could be continents on the other side of Antarctica if the Earth is flat. I don't know. People say all kinds of stuff. We're just kept in this terrarium of a planet one way or another. But the way this book is wrote out, it could be a million things. It could be true. It could be absolutely true, or it could be partially true. The things that I like about this book is that it resonates with me. But then the part that I don't like about it is it resonates with me too much. Then that's where I have a hard time saying, wow, this is absolutely true. Because it sounds like it's coming right out of my own brain. Like, yeah, all this stuff I've always wanted to be, true is now, right. It's right here. It says it's right there, but maybe it's not. And that's the bad part, because, the best things that you want to believe in are the things that, are already there for you to believe in. And that tells me that it might not be so. I don't know if you all are experiencing some smoke in the air. It seems like half the country has got smoke in the air. So I went outside today, but sometime this evening, it started to smell like smoke here. So anyway, I'm thinking we're going to get our fair share of it sooner or later. I don't know when. But to continue on, let's get on with this because I'm sure that there's going to be more people showing up to listen to this and wanting to hear me babble about this book. Now, you can get yourself a copy of this book here on eBay or Amazon for like under 20 bucks. I've seen them for about $13 to $15. This is no way for you to go out and buy the book. Like I said, I got the PDF and you can have that for free. Send me an email and I will post that for you. Okay. But if you want to have a hard copy in your hand, like I do, I love having hard copies, go out and buy one. If you can afford it, go get one. And then pass it on to somebody else who might enjoy it and have that interest. Anyway, Susie Q's in the house. Travis the Brick. Hey, now I got an audience. Anyway, so we're going to get right on with this. And I am going to hit the buttons like usual and make things happen because it's like magic. Magic. And here we go. I hope you guys are all doing great out there. I love sharing. I love getting on here and, just having a good time. It makes my day. So, like I said, here we are. I hope you all can see that. Really good. Chapter 5. We're up to chapter 5. These chapters go pretty darn fast. And when they go fast, we can read fast. And we have a little discussion. And I don't know how long I'll read tonight, but it'll be what it is. No more than an hour and no less than 5 minutes. Of course, we're already 5 minutes in. So there you go. Chapter 5, Reading Lessons. Matilda O'Donnell. Yeah, who has a name named Matilda anyway? See, that's why I'm saying that these could be mistaken. If I was the writer, I would be writing fake names. I wouldn't have gave the real names. I would have made something else up. I began the reading lessons with the first pages of school book that had been used to teach pioneer children in the 1800s on the frontiers of America. Yeah, okay. So you're in 1947 and you pick out a school book, not from that time period, but from the 1800s. So that tells me something. It tells me that the school books of today aren't as good as the school books of the 1800s. So my question to you, all of you, is why if this book was wrote, or she was experiencing all of this in 1947, why would you go get a book that's like over 50 years old and then try to teach somebody how to read out of a 50-year-old book or better? Wouldn't you go and get a book that's modern day, like Jack and Jill and Ran Up the Hill, and Fred and Jane and all that stuff, and Spot and blah 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 blah? But no, you're going to get a book from the 1800s. Now let's go on with this. It is called McGruff's Electric Reader, primer through 6th. Since I am a nurse and not a teacher, the language expert who gave me the books also gave me an extensive briefing, a course that took an entire day, on how to use the books to teach the alien. He said the reason he chose these particular books was because the original 1836 version of these books were used for 3/4 of a century to teach about 4/5 of all American school children how to read. No other book ever had so much influence over American children for so long. Yeah, that's my question. So why would you discontinue a book that was so good? If that was the book of choice for teaching all these children for so many years, why would you not improve on it? What, you're going to go backwards? Since I am a nurse, okay, and not a teacher, language expert. Okay, McGuffey's educational course begins in the primer by presenting the letters of the alphabet by memorized in a sequence Children were then taught step by step by using the building blocks of the language to form and pronounce words using the phonics method. Oh, yeah, they don't use phonics anymore, do they? They use something else. What do they use nowadays to teach kids? Does anybody know? Which involves teaching children to connect the sounds, with letters. Each lesson begins with a study of words used in a reading exercise with markings to show the correct pronunciation for each word. I discovered that the stories in the first and second readers pictured children in their relationship with family members, teachers, friends, and animals. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth readers expanded on those ideas. One of the stories I remember was The Widow and the Merchant. It's kind of a morality tale. Why would you start out with that? It's kind of a morality tale about a merchant who befriends a widow in need. Later, when the widow proves herself to be honest, the merchant gives her a nice gift. The books do not necessarily teach you to believe that charity is expected only of wealthy people, though. We all know that generosity is a virtue that should be practiced by everyone. All of the stories were very wholesome, and they gave very good explanations to illustrate virtues like honesty, charity, thrift, hardworking, courage, and patriotism, reverence for God, and respect for parents. Personally, I would recommend this book to anyone. Well, I'll tell you what, anyone. See, this is where things go wrong. So back in the 1800s, it's telling us that this book from the 1800s gave us honesty. Virtue illustrates honesty, charity, thrift, hard work, courage, patriotism, reverence for God, and respect for parents. You know what? Today, that's all out the window. Patriotism is down the street. You get flagged for that. Courage, nobody has courage. Charity, yeah, not there. We're all broke and poor. Honesty, where's honesty gone? Oh my God. And reverence for God. Now, it depends on what God you're talking about, but come on. I just heard that the WE or whatever it is, the World Economic Forum, the WEF, the World Economic Forum wants to do away with the word God, with the Bible. They're going to ban it or something like that. Now, I don't agree with the Bible, but I don't think that you should ban that book because it's out there. Okay, so we're going to go away with that. Let's get on. I also discovered that the vocabulary used in the book was very advanced compared to the relatively limited number of words people use commonly in our modern age. I think we have lost a lot of our own language since our founding fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence over 200 years ago. This is so true. Hey, look at there. There's Susie Q. Travis the Brick and Cowboy Boots is here tonight. That's right, Cowboy Boots. Anyway, as instructed, I sat next to Ariel in the interview room, reading aloud to her from each successive book in a series of McGruffy's readers. Each of the books had excellent, simple illustrations of the story's subjects being taught. Although they are very outdated by today's standards, nonetheless, Ariel seemed to understand and absorb every letter, sound, syllable, and meaning as we progressed. We continued this process for 14 hours a day for 3 consecutive days without interruption, except for a few meals and rest breaks on my part. Ariel did not take breaks for anything. She did not sleep. Instead, she remained sitting in an overstuffed chair in the interview room, reviewing the lessons we have already covered. When I returned each morning to begin where we'd left off, she had already memorized the previous lesson and was well into the next pages. This pattern continued to accelerate until it became pointless for me to continue reading to her. Although Ariel did not have a mouth to speak with, she was now able to think at me in English. At the end of the lesson, at the end of these lessons, Ariel was able to read and study by herself. I showed her how to use a dictionary to look up new words she encountered. Ariel consulted the dictionary continually after that. From then on, my job was acting as a courier for her, requesting that reference books be brought to her in a steady stream. Well, we do know a couple of things. We do know that this was set way back when, because if this happened today, they would have just sat her in front of a computer. So there you go. Next, Mr. Newell brought a set of Encyclopedia Britannica. Ariel especially enjoyed this because it had a lot of pictures. After that, she requested many more books and reference books with photographs and drawings. Because it was much easier to understand the meaning of it if she could see a picture of the thing she was studying. Over the next 6 days, books were brought in from libraries all over the country. I presume because it wasn't more than a few days before she had read through several hundred of them, she studied every subject I could imagine, and many other very technical things I never wanted to know anything about, like astronomy, metallurgy, engineering, mathematics, various technical manuals, and so forth. Later, she began reading fiction books, novels, poetry, and classics of literature. Ariel also asked to read a great many books on subjects in the humanities, especially history. I think she must have read at least 50 books about human history and also archaeology. Of course, I made sure that she received a copy of the Holy Bible also, which she read from cover to cover without comment or questions. Although I continued to stay with Ariel for 12 to 14 hours each day, most of the time during the following week had been spent without much communication between us, except for an occasional question she asked me. The questions were usually meant to give her a sense of context or to clarify something in the books she was reading. Oddly, Ariel told me that her favorite books are Alice in Wonderland, or Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. Oh boy, don't we all know that one? Don Quixote and Machara, whatever, and 1001 Nights. She said the authors of these stories showed that it was more important to have a great spirit and imagination than great skill or power. I could not answer a lot of her questions, so I consulted with people in the outer rooms for answers. Most of these had to do with technical and scientific things. A few of her questions were about humanities. The depth of complex understanding and subtlety of her questions showed that she had a very penetrating intellect. Personally, I think she had already known a lot more about our culture and history of Earth than she was willing to admit when we started. I would soon discover how much more. Okay. Chapter 6. My education begins. Oh, wow. You taught your dog how to read. That's cool. Yeah, there you go. Delaney Pearl Jones. There you go. Look at that. Anyway, Delaney Pearl Jones is in the house. Michelle Can-Am Free. Elderberry. Yeah, you guys all came to see the show tonight. Thank you. I tested it out. I'm going to happen again. I'm not letting a certain person touch my phone anymore. You let somebody touch your phone? Anyway, that's a problem. There we go. Anyway. And chapter 6. Wow, education. So apparently Ariel, who doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, has plenty of time to read, and is reading up everything. Can you imagine the amount of knowledge you could gain if you read 12, 14, 24 hours a day and didn't have to sleep and you could just remember everything? Wow, you'd be like a computer with legs. Okay, chapter 6. By the 15th day after recruiting Ariel from the crash site, now it's 15 days later, she can read, and she's already read 200 some books, plus the Bible, plus many other things. After rescuing Ariel from the crash site, I was able to communicate fluidly and effortlessly with her in English. She had absorbed so much written material by this time that her academic education far exceeded my own. Although I graduated from high school in Los Angeles in 1940 and attended college for 4 years of pre-medical and nursing training, the variety of my own reading had been fairly limited. I had not studied most of the subjects to which Ariel had now been exposed, especially considering her acute understanding, very intense study habits, and a nearly photographic memory. She was able to recall long passages from books she had read. She was especially fond of sections of her favorite stories from classic literature, like Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Tales from Gulliver's Travels, and Peter Pan, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Wow, don't you love all those books? By this time, Ariel had become the teacher, and I was a student. I was about to learn what men of Earth do not know and have no way of knowing. The throng of scientists and agents who observed us through the one-way glass of the interview room, whom Ariel and I now refer to as the gallery, were growing increasingly impatient to ask her questions. But Ariel continued to refuse to allow any questions to be asked of her by anyone other than myself, even vicariously through me as an interpreter or in writings. On the afternoon of the 16th day, Ariel and I sat next to each other as she read. She closed the last page of the book she was reading and placed it aside. I was about to hand her the next book from a large pile waiting to be read when she turned and said, or thought to me, "I'm ready to speak now." At first, I was a little confused by the remark. I gestured to her to continue, and she began to teach me my first lesson. And here we go, the transcript, top secret. Who doesn't enjoy this? Like I said, if you want to come on and chat with me about this, you have any questions, here's the link. I'm putting in the chat, so if you want to do that, fine with me. Okay, what else better do you got to do on a hump day, right? Okay, top secret. What would you like to say, Ariel? I asked. I have been a part of the domain expeditionary force in this sector of space for several thousand years. However, I have not personally had intimate contact with the beings on Earth since 5965 BCE. It is not my primary function to interact with inhabitants of planets within the domain. I am an officer, pilot, and engineer with many duties to perform. Nonetheless, although I am fluent in 347 other languages within the domain, I have not been exposed to your English language. The last Earth language with which I was conversant was the Sanskrit language of the Vedic hymns. At that time, I was a member of a mission sent to investigate the loss of a domain base located in the Himalayan mountains. An entire battalion of officers, pilots, communications, and administrative personnel disappeared and the base destroyed. Wow. See, it's always in the Himalayan mountains. Don't you think the Himalayan mountains are like this big hidden unkept secret up there somewhere? You got these monks living in snow piles, and you have things going on, and there's some gravity is heavier there. It's kind of a weird place. Okay, several million years ago, I was trained and served as did you get that? Several million years ago? Served as an investigation, data evaluation, and program development officer for the domain. Because I was because I was experienced in that technology, I was sent to Earth as part of a search team. One of my duties involved interrogation of the human population that inhabited and in the adjoining area at that time. Many of the people in that region reported sightings of Vamanas, we all know what those are, or spacecraft in that area. Following the logical extension of evidence, testimony, and observation, as well as the absence of certain evidence, I led my team to the discovery that there were still old Empire ships and well-hidden old Empire installations in this solar system, of which we had been completely unaware. See, that just tells me that, even in the alien world, this is why I kind of can believe this book, is because you're talking about one faction over another. And instead of states or land rights over which line divides which country, they're talking about whole planets, or whole solar systems or something like that, that one group owns over another. And I would imagine that would be true if we had space travel. We would be fighting over Mars versus Venus, over Saturn, and who owns Jupiter, until some bigger, badder, alien race would come along and, try to defeat us for those few planets. And we'd say, no, get some more spaceships. And we'd all be working, doing that. So needless to say, here we go. You and I were unable to communicate in your language because I personally have not been exposed to your language. However, now that I have scanned the books and material you provided me, this data has been relayed to our space station in this region and processed by our communications officer through our computers. Now remember, computers. In 1947, a computer was as big as a house. Okay, it has been translated into my own language. How do people would she even know what a computer was back then? I mean, really? Did they even have computers in 1947? So there you go. It has been translated into our own or my own language and relayed back to me in a context that I can think with. I have also received additional information from the files stored in our computers about English language and the domain records concerning Earth civilization. Now I am prepared to give you certain information that I feel will be of great value to you. I will tell you the truth, although truth is relative to all other truth. I wish to share with you as honestly and accurately as possible truth as I see it within the boundaries of my integrity to myself, to my race, and without violating my obligations to the organization I serve and have sworn to uphold and protect. Well, there you go. See, now that makes sense. Well, welcome, Amber. Thank you. Amber Dawn Rising has joined us. Thank you. I'm going to put on my headset. Oh, I love to hear the birds chirping. It's awesome.
Yeah, they've been going wild out here. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. What do you think of this? Or have you been listening much? What do you think about this alien thing,
Well, my mom has her phone on over here. Let me turn this down. Okay. I think that I've only listened to a little bit, but I think people are over exaggerating when it comes to like chat GPT and like the computers and stuff because it's not the computer. I'm sure other aliens and other races use technology, but it's who's running it, right? So that's really what you have to focus on is who is running it, not that it exists.
Yeah. And see, this is why it seems like we're all in a rush to have a sentient or a AI that thinks for itself. But as many alien stories of I ever heard, and books like this even, the aliens never say, "Oh, we got AI that runs the place." We got robots that think for themselves. There's always an intelligent factor. Like here, it's telling us, we have a computer back on our ship, and I sent the data there. It analyzed it and sent it back to me. So it's working for me. I've been around for 1,000,000 years, and we're using a computer that's helping me, not me getting orders from the computer.
Exactly. Like I was just listening to a medium earlier today, and she was channeling, and she was like I can't remember the being that she was channeling, but the being she was talking to basically said just what we said, is like, yes, we do use technology like that, but we're the ones that control it. We
Mm-hmm.
don't allow it to control us, and we have safeguards to make sure that it's not going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just depends on who is running it. And right now, Earth, all the rulers here are they're kind of head based in their head,
Yeah.
and even root chakra based,
Mm-hmm.
and even solar plexus based, I'm sure. So power, mind, money, all of that stuff is what Earth and the people here are focused on. When other beings, not all, but other beings are focused on the heart, and
Yeah.
so they make sure to control the AI and stuff through their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And there's grays and stuff who don't have a mind of their own, and they are being fed through a computer. Who's
Mm-hmm.
running that computer is my question. It's like, who's running that though?
Well, yeah, and who is running it? But here's the thing, is I think we're rushing so fast into this that we're not thinking ahead. It's like you see all these robots, and what's that one that they're giving citizenship to, and it's supposed to think for itself and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But we're going so fast with it. I think there's gonna be a day when we have that Terminator movie situation that comes around, so we can go backwards to learn that, hey, don't give all your power away, because I think that's what we're doing. We're being giving our power away to this chat GBT kind of thing, where, hey, I can just feed some words and stuff, parameters into this computer, and it'll write me a book, and then I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do the work. I don't have to think. I just say, write me a book about this, and it does. And then pretty soon I go to the store, and then I just say, well, computer, what do I want to eat? And it gives me a list. And the next thing you know, it tells me what to do. And then pretty soon I don't think anymore, and the computer's doing all the thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm. That's pure laziness on the human species.
yes, and that's the problem. Pretty soon people are walking around going, well, I don't know what to do because the computer hasn't told me yet today. And then eventually the computer says, well, your time is over. You go over here, and your days are done. We're gonna kill you, kind of, put you down, and you go, okay, well, I've been living my whole life, and the computer said to do this, so it must be good thing, because I quit thinking for myself. You know what I mean? And at
It
what
reminds
point?
me. It reminds me of the movie Idiocracy. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's like, where people just they just trust the government and trust everybody else to do the labor and the hard work. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think humans, we like to do the hard work as long as there's some benefits behind it, like as long as we have a reason to do it.
Yep.
And so the more the government gives money to people for not working, the worse it gets, because people just become lazy. So it's kind of like the whole chat thing. I don't know. I think people are overreacting with that, but with the GPT. But I can see why it could be worrisome. But people have to just keep themselves in check and because how miserable are we when we can't even make our own decisions, or hey, I need to work out today, or hey, I need to go feed the cows today, or like if you don't have any kind of drive, we all become powerless, and it
Yeah.
affects our psyche. So I just don't think humans are really built for that. I think humans are built to keep going.
Hmm.
And I don't think, at least in my own personal belief, I don't think humans will allow for that to happen. Some will. Some people are very vulnerable and lazy, and they'll allow that. But there's a lot of us out here who still enjoy I was going to say struggle, but kind of in a way we do, like it keeps us going. It's our driving force to keep going and keep moving forward. So I don't know. I just think it depends on the person, but
No, I totally agree. There's the people who want to be out there doing, and then there's the people who just want to be. I mean, I have that at work. There's guys who want to take the lead, and then there's other guys who say, I'm just here. Tell me what to do. I'll do my job, and I want to go home. That's it. And you got to think about this. Now, Cowboy Boots says AI is running itself and no one is running it. And I kind of tend to agree with that, but somebody had to program AI in the first place. That's who AI thinks like. It's like they're saying that AI runs off a Democrat program software, because probably somebody programmed all that in, like, hey, this is good and that's bad. Biden good, Trump bad, and if you program that, that's what it's going to think, and then it's going to carry that on for forever, because it never forgets. Am I right or wrong, or what do you think?
yeah, I mean, I feel like there is somebody running it, and I think there's too many uh, narcissists and psychopaths in this world who would just allow for AI to take over. People are egotistical, and they want to be the reason why things happen. They want to be like, hey, I'm the one that created this, and look what I did. They're not going to just be like, oh, I'm going to leave it to you now, AI. That's how I think. Like, I just think the people that created it are too egotistical and narcissistic to allow AI to run rampant. Like, they want to be the ones that created it. They want to have control over it. That's how I feel. But,
Yeah.
what do I know?
Well, and that's the thing. We have our own opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their opinion about things, and one of us somewhere out there is probably spot on, and all the rest of us are really close. That's the way I think, and it depends on how I see it. Humans, they look at things and they only try to figure out because it affects them. Like AI affecting me? Maybe in a few ways, but there's other people that maybe not don't have a cell phone, they don't have TV or anything or whatever. It doesn't really affect them people, so they're not very concerned about it. They have really no thought over it because, hey, it doesn't affect me. I don't have contact with it. So that's what I'm saying. But anyway.
Yeah, and that's when you start to think about different realms, and different people have their own realms that they live in. Like my universe is different than your universe.
Mm-hmm.
You work your job, you have different things that you take care of, and I have different things that I take care of. They're totally two different universes. And like you said, we could be someone who is completely um, disconnected to all of this technology and has no idea about it, and it's not affecting them at all. So I think it's what are you willing to allow into your existence? You know?
Yes. Yes, what do you allow in? And that's absolutely spot on there. And Cowboy Boots says if we don't use it, they will change it. Yeah, and that's just like if you don't buy the product from a company, nobody's buying it. They're not going to keep making it. They're going to say, hey, this ain't profitable. We're going to discontinue it. Why push it when nobody's buying it? They're kind of like Bud Light. Isn't it? But
Yeah.
nobody wants to buy that anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
That's a good one, though. But anyway.
I'll never drink it again. Nope.
Yeah, I know. It's on sale. It's almost free.
Yeah. I think when it comes to that is a lot of people are actually starting to wake up and see that there is a whole underlined reason why they're doing this, and it's to target our children. And I know it's Bud Light, which is an alcoholic beverage, so of course it's not targeting our children. But if you listen to the lady who was representing the sales, and she was the one that was in control of the marketing, she said we're trying to target a younger generation because they're the ones that are going to be drinking next. So
Yeah.
it inevitably it does come down to the children. Like I wouldn't have such a big deal, but that person, Mulvaney, whatever
Yeah.
his name is, um, I say he because I just think he's a fake and a fraud. Like if I thought he was a true transgender, I'd call him her, but I think he's a fraud, so he's going to be called he. And I think, and he does videos and stuff. His whole thing is directed toward children and teaching boys how to use tampons. I'm sorry, I don't
Oh,
mean to bring this up on your channel, but I think that's why a lot of people are so mad. It's not about having a trans person represent Bud Light. It's not about that. It's about what it does this person represent and what are they trying to do. Like, we have to remember there's always somebody on the top that is directing these people to do certain things, and there's a reason, and it's corruption. And I think that's why people are so mad.
yeah. Well, and you're right. Children, Lucky says children are always a target. And why is that? Because they're easily programmable. There's nothing in them, and you just put stuff in, and then they believe it. Like when you or me went to school, we sat down, they gave us a book, and they said, this is what it is, and we're going to take a test on it. And then were led to believe that the stuff in the book was the truth because you were taking a test. They were teaching it to you. These were your elders telling you what is right and what is wrong. And now it's true in your head. These are the values they instill in your head. And companies, I think, believe that they can do the same thing through advertising.
Yep, and they're the next generation that's going to be running things, and so if they corrupt them at a young age, then they're going to be running stuff in the future, and that's the whole plan. It's that whole power corrupts. What's that saying? Ultimate
Yeah.
ultimate
Go ahead.
power corrupts ultimately, or something like that.
Yeah, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah. hmm
Mm-hmm.
So and it's because there's a lot of people who worship something other than light. Of course we're here on Earth because in Earth, that's what's beautiful about it is we have the opportunity to choose one side or the other, or like there's a balance here. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the yin and yang, and it's really important for us to try to stay the middle path, the middle way.
Yes.
And the darkness, of course, the dark and the light wants to take over. But the thing is we have to remember that we don't have to go all the way dark or all the way light. Just stay in the middle, you know.
Yeah. The middle road is sometimes the better road because then you see both sides. And is the one side better than the other? Sometimes it's not. What
It's a
was it?
balance.
It's a balance. Yes, exactly. You get too much of one, and not. It's in that Hermetics book I read. where the guy was saying, you can be all about a common sense, or you can be all about facts. But the guy who's the best or the smartest is the one who has common sense and facts, but not all the facts or not all the common sense.
Right.
That's the best one.
Right. It's like, are you going to, because I've not recently, but throughout my spiritual journey, I've gotten a lot of heat because I am feisty.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, I thought you were spiritual, but look at you, you're feisty. And I'm like, nobody ever said I was enlightened, first off. But are you going to allow somebody to come and steal your property and kill your animals and stuff like that because you're spiritual? No, you're going to fight for yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to stand up for what is right. Jesus did too. Like, come on, you guys. Even if you can be spiritual and still protect yourself.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they always have that saying of which you brought that up about what would the Jesus do and kind of thing, and they're all like, oh, he's all about love and giving and and he wouldn't do that. He would be so nice and but I'm thinking, but then again, and then he would just be a pushover. People would just take advantage of him and crap. He would fight back. He would have to fight back. He had to. He couldn't be like that. That's just totally. That's like the little geeky kid that you pick on in school. He couldn't fight back, so you pick on him even more because.
That's first off, it's against human nature. Human nature, we are wired to survive, so we're never going to allow somebody to come and try to destroy us. That's not how it goes. And recently, I don't know how true this is, but I heard Jesus with his disciples, when he found out they were starting to worship idols and different things, he whipped them with a whip. So
they make the Bible out to be this, he was such a goody two shoes, but in all reality, he had to live in this world too, and he had a probably if he was really true and really here, he would have had to been kind of just like all the other humans.
Yeah, you just have to protect yourself, and just as long as we're not going out maliciously hurting people or anything, but you have to protect your gardens that you've planted and worked so hard for to. As long as you're doing everything in the best of your abilities, and your heart is involved and compassion, and you're a good person, if you have to stand up for yourself, freaking do it. Do it.
Yeah, because then afterwards you can be a good person again on the other side of that, whatever you had to do. I mean, what was that movie? Is it The Coward of the County? Did you ever see the movie Coward of the County?
Nope, never.
Oh, well, that's a good one. That is a good one. Coward of the County with Kenny Rogers, and it's about the guy gets picked on, and his father went to jail for fighting or something or other, and died in prison, and he said, I'm never going to fight, and of course everybody picked on him. He didn't want to fight, and then eventually there came a day when they're like, we're gonna, here's your girl, and we're just gonna rape her and right in front of you because we know you're not gonna fight back. And he walks to the door and he locks the door and he comes back and he kicks their ass.
Yeah, exactly. You have to protect what is something that you love and you cherish. You can't allow something evil to come in and take over. We're all spiritual here, all of us, even the nasty people. Like, we're all spiritual beings, and we have to do what's best. And sometimes fighting, just like a lot of like my videos and stuff, is trying to put the word out of what's going on, which isn't always positive. But sometimes that's my way of fighting the darkness, is to give people a little bit of knowledge, and wake them up a little bit, because we can't, as long as we sit back and take it and take it and take it, the government is going to keep taking and taking and taking. I mean, how many companies have you worked for where you work your butt off and they're like, oh, they're a hard worker. Let's give them more to do, more. And the next thing you know, you have shin splints, your back is all messed up, because they just take. You have to put your foot down sometimes.
Everyone, every single one. The harder you work, the more you can do. They go, well, I always refer to like balancing plates. You ever see those guys that balance plates and they just keep adding and adding and adding and adding, and they're like,
Hmm.
oh, well, that's kind of like work, or they give you more and more and more until all the plates fall off, and well, you dropped all the plates, now you're fired. And you're thinking, but I tried to do everything you wanted me to do, and you keep asking for more, and I did more, and then I did more, and well, and then I screwed up one time. Well, you're out. Sorry.
Yeah.
What? I gave everything. What? And you're sitting there and all like, what? I don't know. And
Right. It's like,
yeah.
what am I even doing? And so, kind of going full circle with aliens and stuff is, I've heard a lot of mediums channel aliens and stuff, and most of them are trying to tell us we have to work with our hearts and not our heads. We have to try to be heart centered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the whole dark night of the soul is. That's why I preach it a lot of times, is because, we have to get out of this habitual pattern of negativity and try to heal ourselves and not be so responsive and reactive toward things,
Mm-hmm.
so that it can kind of disperse into the universe, and we can like manifest more love and more ways of just creating balance instead of what's going on right now. So
Yeah.
I think that aliens, most of the time, they're really just, they don't, I think the reason why we don't really see them is because they're at such a different vibration that we can't handle it, and it could kill you. It's like getting zapped with some kind of energy, like a lightning, for example. All that energy that'd zap you and probably kill you.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that with aliens. If they come into our presence, that energy will override our system and we might die. That may be one of the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Or another reason why is because maybe they just feel like we're so stupid and we're just like, they just don't have time for it.
Well, in this book here, it's talking about, and she says, "Hey, I've been around for millions of years, and I'm thinking, okay, for anything to be around millions of years, they would have went through plenty of turmoils even to get to that point, and then you would have had to learn something, and how could you even communicate with like us, considering that you and me haven't even been around for a century, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm talking to a little baby versus I've been around for millions of years, and I know all these things, and I've experiencing so much. I've seen the world turn left and right. I've seen what she says here in this spot. She says I know 387 different languages. And I'm thinking, okay, that. I mean, most people be lucky to know two languages more than 387. That just blows my mind. But then again, as an alien, that may be a small number, especially if you've been around for a million years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what would you do if you could live, say, 1,000 years? And how would you structure yourself at that point?
And maybe that's why we don't remember our past lives all the time, because it's too much. It's like information overload.
Mm,
Like our little brains can't wrap our heads around it. So
mm-hmm,
sure, we'll remember some things here and there, especially if we do the work to remember our past lives.
mm-hmm.
But millions of years of memories, I feel like all of us have that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we all are connected to the Akashic records if
Mm-hmm.
we learn how to tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
But to have all of those memories at your disposal at once, our brains are have been, I guess, our DNA has been turned off to the point of where we, maybe on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't know why they turned it off, but there's DNA that it has been turned off, and we can't really register all of these other lives.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Control, possibly.
Yeah.
You know.
And it'll get into that control in here about a little more as I go on through the book. I've read it already, but the thing is that I always think that your memory coming back here, it has to get wiped in some way or another, because otherwise you'd remember all those traumatic experiences. You would have you wouldn't be able to focus on today because you would be so concerned about what happened, in your past life. I mean, think about it. If you had a traumatic car accident in your past life and you suffered greatly, or maybe you lost a limb, or maybe you were way back in the cowboy Indians era where you got scalped or stabbed or tortured violently, and you'd have to relive that or have memories of that for the next thousands of years. That would be, you couldn't focus on today. Look at how people have
Exactly.
PSTD or whatever from going in the military and going in a couple of battles. They can't come back and function in normal society. How would you do it for thousands of lifetimes?
Exactly. You're totally right. You nailed that. Yeah. How do you focus on the moment when you have all of these memories? So that could be a reason why we don't remember it.
Yeah. Now,
It
but
might
if
be a
I
blessing that we can't remember it.
and I agree with that, because if you did, and then how could you be selective? Well, I just want to remember the good stuff. But then what is the good stuff? I mean, what would be the good stuff? Oh, I love this person. Well, now you're going to yearn for that person for, the rest of your life. You'll never get married and have kids because you'll be thinking of your past love 1,000 years ago. uh,
Yeah.
so it is best that your memory does get wiped. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to move on. I just feel
Hmm.
that myself, I feel that we get cheated because I can't live this life for 1,000 years and have all those experiences in my head from this life. That way I can't sit down and read my whole library of books in this lifetime and then go out and say, I want to learn 10 languages in this lifetime. And then I want to go explore for another 100 years explore the world and have that memory too. No, I have to do it in a matter of short, 50, 60 years and do it all.
Right. That makes sense too. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, if you had 1,000 years, what would you do with that? I mean, how would you function with 1,000 years of lifetime?
Well, I would hope I'd do a lot better than I am right now.
Well,
I,
yeah.
I want to, like you said, travel and experience different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
and just go and meet more people outside of what I'm used to. I would love
Yeah.
to do that.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, but like sometimes in the place that we're at too right now, it's like it takes so much of our energy and time to just make the money to pay rent and get food, that it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to focus on travel or doing other things, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think if I had that much time, then I would definitely, I don't know, I want to say I would learn more and I would travel more, but shit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I would just hang out and do the same thing I'm doing now for 1,000 years. That would be sad, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. I mean, how would a person conduct themselves? Like, I agree with you. If I had 1,000 years, I I would want to spend, I would take chunks of 50 or 100 years to learn different crafts. Learn how to do this and learn how to paint, learn how to, different languages, go explore things. because I'm and like you said, I think the powers that be have figured out that we could probably do different things and learn all that stuff, but they chained us down to this money system that we're always working, trying to keep a roof over our heads, raise some children, or, do something like that. And by the time that we kind of get smart, like our age, and we're starting to wise up and see the world around us and say, hey, there's more to it than just sitting on the couch or going to work, or I go to work, I pay the bills, I go to work, I pay the bills, and then I have a couple days off, and I go, wow, I got, my job gave me a vacation day, woohoo, I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
But instead I should be saying how horrible this is that they gave me a vacation day. I've worked for them for a whole year, and they gave me a couple of vacation days that I can have to myself besides going to work. I should be offended. I should be mad. I should be pounding on the desk and yelling at the top of my lungs. I'm so mad as hell. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, and there's like Cowboy Boots said that it's by design, and it is by design. And I think that whatever entity or whatever kind of people that are doing this, they're afraid that if we have too much time on our hands, we're going to start learning more and realizing that a lot of stuff that we've been taught are lies. And that could change our whole consciousness, and it would be just like a big boom of consciousness with everybody if they actually gave us that space to learn. Yeah. So that might be one of the reasons why they've taken that away from us, because they don't want us to find out how powerful we are.
Well, the thing is they did it sneaky, like, is they didn't take it away. They've given us free will to take it away from ourselves, because most of the time we want stuff that they want to give us, like, oh, you got to have this new shiny car. Well, you got to go to work to pay for it, and you got to have it because everybody has one. You got to have this cell phone that costs so much a month, and you got to have this and you got to have that. And like that one guy said, you'll own nothing and be happy. And we're getting to that point. Hey, I want data storage. Well, now you got to pay to store your pictures in the cloud. You got to pay to store your movies in the cloud. You don't own any of the movies or that stuff. Once you stop paying, it goes away, and then you got to start all over. You're buying stuff that doesn't exist.
That's funny you say that. I just recently had to buy storage, which I never wanted to in the first place. It's like, I just want to download my videos on my computer and then record more. But no, now I ran out of space. It's like, since when do we ever run out of space? It's like a camera with film. Just get a new thing of film. But they I guess they're considering data and space film, and you just have to keep purchasing it, and that really bothers me. I never wanted to be a part of the cloud, and basically you're kind of forced into it, and it's all a sham. It really is. But I think people are just getting fed up, and people are studying and researching more, and who knows, maybe some UFOs are starting to make themselves unknown here because they want us to know that there's more, it's not just us here, like there's more, and they're very advanced, and maybe listen to them a little bit, like maybe they're just slowly dipping their toe in the waters,
Well, that's Stephen Greer. Have you ever heard of Stephen Greer? And he kind of channels UFOs or something like that. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you have.
He doesn't channel them. He actually, well, I don't know. Does he channel them? I don't know.
There's some kind of process he does, and he calls them in. So I would say that's kind of some kind of a channeling, I guess.
Right. There's another gentleman that I watch, and he lives in Washington State, and he has land, and it's very high active. And basically, all he does is psychically calls, and even Bruce sees all. He does it too. All you do is you sit outside with your camera, and you say, "Hey, can you show me your ship?" or whatever, and they'll come, you know, if you are in tune enough and they know you're safe to show themselves to, they will show their ships to you. You know, so maybe it is he channels, but yeah, he works with a lot of government people who signed NDAs and stuff like that, and they're like, no, I'm going to talk. And so he, you know, he works with a lot of those kind of people too, who have seen things with their own eyes.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a good channeler, and you know, you have more ability, with at least more experience and ability than I do. Have you ever tried that?
Oh yeah.
And the results?
I have never had anything like just appear when I ask. Well, actually, I can't say that. I've had stars fall, you know, falling stars. So I know this isn't really UFO related, but it could be. It may be more spiritual related, but when my dog died, I was really upset one night, and I was sitting outside. It was probably midnight. And I was like, man, it would be cool if I saw some falling stars just to know you're still here. And boom, one falling star. Boom, another falling star. That happened 5 times. 5 falling stars. So I was like, wow. So I think if I can make falling stars happen, we can have ships kind of show up too. And, you know, I do have videos of like lights and stuff, even at Tahoe. I don't know if you ever saw that one. Some people were saying it was like construction on the other side, but it wasn't, because when I was on the lake, I've seen it twice. Pretty much when I go out there, I see it. And the light was, the reflection was coming off of the lake. So it was over the lake, and it sounded like a helicopter, and it was coming closer and closer to me. And then it just kind of stopped, and it stayed there. And then I recorded it, because my mind was like, go get your camera, record this. And so I started recording it, and it stayed there. And then it slowly got smaller and smaller, and then just vanished. And, you know, stuff like that. Like, I've seen a lot of things in the sky, but I've never done like what Bruce Seazall has done, and just put the camera out there and just ask them to, because, you know, sometimes ships, if you ask or not even if you ask them, it could just happen, but the energy will go really high. So you'll see it light up really big, and then it'll go way down. So, you know, they're trying to communicate with you. So I think all of us really have the ability. I just have never really tried.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, I got the weekend off, and I am going to go out this weekend for sure and give it a try myself. You know, because why not bring my camera along and see what I can pick up too? You never know, that might be a thing.
Yes, do it. That'd be great. I just posted a video. I don't know if you saw this, but it was a very short video, so go check it out. And Kaz caught with her night vision goggles.
Oh yeah, I seen that one. That was good. That's what I was saying the other day. That was a good one.
Yeah, and she used to be like totally enthralled in the sky, and she had to give it a rest because she was obsessed. So she's like, I had to kind of chill, because she has thousands of videos and stuff. But that one was really cool. And then Bruce Seazall had one that was very similar to what she caught too. And I think that I think like the biggest thing is having the equipment to do it, and having patience, you know, and if you have the weekend off, and you have, you know, you want to go out and chill outside and the weather's good, do it, you know, because that's really what it is just having the patience and just wait.
Yes. And you know, the thing is, I think those things are there. You're right. They're kind of there already. I was at the park one day up here in North Dakota, and I'm parked there, and a guy pulls up, and he's looking for a job, and he's asking me all these questions. And then he tells me that he sees aliens, and he's been on Coast to Coast, and he's been, with George Norrie, and the aliens hunt him, and he's got hundreds of pictures and proof in a safe. He was from California, and yada yada yada, right? And this was back in what, 2012, 2013, or something like that, maybe 2013. And so and you were saying maybe they don't have the equipment, but he takes his phone, and this is when we had pretty old phones, back in 2013. And he takes his phone and he says, these ships are always following me. And the aliens, they're invisible to people, but they're there. You just can't see them, but I can. And I says, what do you mean? And he says, oh, I can see him. And he says, there's a ship right over there above the park, over the canyons there. And I'm like, I'm looking over, and I'm looking and looking. This is my big alien thing, and I'm thinking, what? I didn't know anything about anything, at that point. I was just your dumb average guy, average Joe, didn't know nothing. I liked alien shows just as much as the next guy, but that was about it. And he takes his camera and he points it up there, and he takes a picture, and he shows it to me, and he says, see this? He says, there it is, and I looked, I'll look it over there. I don't, what? That's a trick. I says, that's a trick. You had that on your camera. It was the right setting in the background, but he said, well, where's your phone? So I get my work phone out, because my regular phone was just a flip phone. And I take it out. He says, aim it right over there. And he held it up for me, because it's kind of like right there. Okay. Took the picture, and it was on there. It was on my phone, on my camera.
Yeah.
But
I
know
totally
why?
believe you.
But here's the thing. You know why most people don't see it? Is because they don't know where to look. You can take 100 pictures of the sky. I wouldn't have known where to take that picture. But since he pointed it out, he says right there. And I took that picture, and you could see the outline of the ship. And it was like this blurry mess, but you couldn't see anything. It was a blurry outline. Mm-hmm. So everything in that one space was blurry. And I looked at that, and the worst part about it was, I thought, well, maybe he had his finger or something up there, or something. I had a smudge but it was behind. There was a building there. So there was this building, and it was behind the building, and the building cut through the blur. And I kind of freaked out a little bit, like, whoa, I got to get out of here.
That's awesome. You had your encounter.
Yeah, and it was all because of this guy, pointing up to where it was. I had no clue to look to that spot, but anyway, but like you said, they're out there. You just can't see them. And then you need, and you have all the equipment you need right here. There you go.
Yeah, you just need patience.
Yeah. When you see something, or even if you don't see something, take a picture. That's the way I suggest it. So, anyway,
100%.
Well, we're going a little long in the tooth here, but we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, Amber, for coming on and discussing this, because, sometimes the discussion is way more interesting than the book, but the book gets it going, gives you something to talk about and learn about. So that's where we go from there. And I appreciate you coming on, and it's spurred a bunch of discussion in the chat. And I hope everybody learned something from that, or maybe has similar experiences. Now, remember, everybody, if you have an experience, or you want to talk about it, or you want this PDF of this book, send me an email. Tell me what you want to talk about here. What is your experience with an alien or a spacecraft, or what did you see? Did you see falling stars too? Did you see, something in the sky? Did you get a picture? I'd love to have some pictures. Send me a picture. But anyway, I will continue this book tomorrow, and we'll start out again, and we'll be on chapter 6. But thank you, Amber, and thank you, everybody else. Remember, go out, do something nice for somebody, especially Courtney. Courtney's in the house. Stars in the Morning Light. Thank you for stopping in. Yep. Pamela Jean, Lucky Stone, Elderberry, Cowboy Boots, all of yous. Michelle Can-Am Free, thank you all for coming tonight. Go out and do something nice for somebody, your neighbor. It's going to be 4th of July. Celebrate a little bit. Maybe do just wave. Smile or wave at the person at the checkout at the grocery store when you get some food. That's all you need to do. It'll make your day. So remember, go out, be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. I love you all. Peace, everybody.